just want to cast the card. Primeval Titan. Into play. I think we're about to slam this Dryad. The real prize is this tracker. Let's just get the tracker into play now. Get our value while we can. Not in a super rush to clear our opponent's board, as crazy as that may sound. Alright, guys. We are here with our 3-0 lead so far with this Adventurous Impulse Amulet list. I'm going to save my thoughts for the deck list until the end of the league. Even if we lose the next 2 matches straight, I'll still be happy, because that means we've gained some knowledge, gained some understanding, gained some entertainment, and we've also still managed to go infinite, quote-unquote. With a 3-2 record, you get a league plus 2 tickets, which is basically $2 on Magic Online. So going infinite in order to make content for you guys is exactly what I want to do. So yeah, with that said, let's just jump straight into the games. We've been on the play a couple times, so I do expect to be on the draw here. Alright, we have a match. On the draw, I did call it, playing against a Red Basilisk. This is the red matchup here. Red Face Menace versus Red Basilisk. Is the snake more powerful or the menace? I don't know, some people would say snakes are menaces, so. Opponent says, hi, have fun. Say, you too. Well, definitely mulligan the all lands Titan hand. And definitely keep the half lands, half castable spells. Probably bottoming. Oof, this is kind of difficult. I kind of want to bottom the Azusa here, as the Dryad is a valuable ramp piece, and Grazer lets us cast Dryad on 2, but we also want Impulse to either find a bounce land, or just another land in general, or a Titan. So I'm going to bottom the Azusa here. If I knew we were playing against a Thoughtseize deck, I'd probably bottom the Grazer, but we don't know what we're playing against. We're playing against Seachrome Coast. Giver of Runes, okay. Well, knowing that we draw a second Grazer, I would bottom the Grazer also. Yep, let's just fetch out this Heath. Probably shock a breeding pool. I think it's probably worth it. We'll Grazer. Make a Vesuva copying our breeding pool for all of the green sources in the world. And also to be able to transmute Talari West, of course. Yeah, I mean, we're passing it back. See what our opponents got for us. If they play Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, we'll have to pay 2 for our Adventurous Impulse. Shudder. That idea scares me all the way to my bones. I mean, let's be honest, though. How is it that neither of us are realistically playing red when both of our names have red in the name? Whoa. Either Sworn Canonist. Each player who has cast a non-artifact spell this turn can't cast additional non-artifact spells. So this will stop us from casting more than one non-artifact spell in a turn. For, like, example, Summoner's Pacting for a Titan means that we can't actually cast a Titan the same turn. Pretty annoying. We can just slam Dryad here, and I think that's what I'm going to do here, since we can get immediate land drop value out of it. And we're going to bog ourselves here. Don't know if our opponent has anything that gives them a benefit off of our graveyard, but, like, for example, if our opponent had green and Tarmogoyf, then getting rid of our land here could be relevant. Highly doubt that is the case, but technically possible. This Canonist makes our Adventurous Impulse look awful, by the way, since if we cast Impulse, the 1-mana sorcery, the innocuous card that it is, we will have literally no way to play anything else that turn, unless it's an artifact. So I suppose an Engineered Explosives is the exception. Canonist looking actually pretty decent here. Opponent plays Ghost Quarter. Well, joke's on you, opponent. We have not found a bounce land just yet. We're about to top deck a bounce land and completely punish those words, but Deputy of Detention to exile Dryad. That's pretty decent. Yeah, I'm not feeling that great about this game in all honesty. I suppose if we Adventurous Impulse into a land so we can play the land, that actually might be pretty beneficial for us. They're getting in for the 2 points of damage, giving pro green so we can't block. We found the land. No reason to play Grazer here anyway, so I am just going to Impulse. Opponent stopped us in our draw step. No big deal. No big deal. Titan. Like to see that one. Exactly how the card Adventurous Impulse was drawn up. We'll play out our land and pass it back. Untap land off the top lets us cast Titan. We're just doing it the hard way here. Just get to 6 lands, cast Titan. I would take any land here. Even a bounce land would be fine, just because they would be forced to Ghost Quarter it, and then we'd still be able to Titan. I guess they wouldn't be forced to Ghost Quarter it necessarily, but... Thalia, you got it. Thalia doesn't do a whole lot against us. Is our opponent going to get in for 2 points of damage here again? They need Meddling Mage is what they need. Don't think they have it. I'm going to be completely honest. Once our Titan resolves, what are we getting? If we get Tolaria West and a bounce land, our opponent can Ghost Quarter the Tolaria West with the bounce land trigger on the stack. Dryad is actually pretty decent. Any land lets us start triggering Valakut. So we'll definitely play that one. Gotta pass it back. I guess they can Ghost Quarter our Valakut to stop us from getting natural Valakut triggers, but I mean, it's whatever. If they do that, maybe we'll just be able to cast a Titan. So, opponent wisely Ghost Quarters now in case we do have a land in hand. Very good play by the opponent. Very heads-up play. If this Grazer had just been, like, for example, any random land, worst case scenario, a fetch land, then our opponent would be in for a bad positioning here. Mutavault, okay, that's a very cool one. Animates into a 2/2 with every creature type. For a measly 1 mana. Standard All-Star. I played a little bit of this card in Standard, but back in Standard, it was one of the more expensive cards. This was Return to Ravnica Standard that I'm talking about, actually. Any of you guys play during Return to Ravnica Standard? Let me know. I was playing Esper Control back then with Sphinx's Revelation. That was the deck I was playing. Opponent's getting in for 2 damage. They're doing it live. I mean, we can't block, so we won't block. Untap land off the top, let's go. Now we have an easy solution. We can get Tolaria West and Valakut so that if they path our Dryad, we get to keep a Titan, and if they path our Titan, we get to get Valakut triggers. Cruel Turf actually does do it if we float the mana first. Doesn't give us an additional land drop post-combat here, but that's okay. Let's do the thing where we can have them auto-tap for mana, because we don't care the types. Just want to cast the card. Primeval Titan. Into play. There's some argument to getting Bounce Land and Valakut here, so we can pick up the Valakut and protect it. So that they can't just have, like, a second Ghost Quarter and stop our Valakut shenanigans entirely. I feel like that might be fine, because if they have... I guess that would be weak to them having Path right now, and then top decking Ghost Quarter for the... No, we would be playing around the Ghost Quarter. They do have Path, okay. Well, they definitely should have waited for us to search for the lands here before giving us the information of what to search for with Titan, because now we can just get Blue Bounce Land... Blue Bounce Land and Tolaria West, for sure. Yeah, that's still probably correct. I was almost certainly going to be getting Valakut and something else, probably Valakut Tolaria West before, but now that they've pathed in response to the Titan trigger, or in response to the Titan, rather than after letting the Titan trigger resolve and the Valakuts go on the stack, I knew that I had the ability to get a bounce land here, since the Valakut is no longer relevant, or the Valakut plan. So definitely our opponent getting slightly punished here for pathing when they did. Timing is key. Of course, I shouldn't be giving anybody advice on how to play against Amulet. I mean, that's completely against the point. We're here to play the deck. I don't want people to know how to beat me. Are you kidding? Our opponent is contemplating life decisions here. They might be trying to see if they have any actual outs, to be honest. We do have a second Valakut. We're definitely picking up T-West here. That's not even a question. Hopefully they don't top deck anything to deal with our Titan. Then we might be in a little bit more of a sticky situation here. They can still attack through our Titan by giving pro-green. So We actually are on a clock here, a non-insignificant one. That might be solved by a simple Dryad plus Valakut combo. But even that has its weaknesses. As we've already seen, Mr. Ghost Quarter here saying hello to our Valakut. I don't know if you met him before, Mr. Ghost Quarter. You know why this one is Mr. Ghost Quarter? The other one, the other art, the original one, the Ravnica City of Guilds, I believe, art, that one's Mrs. Ghost Quarter. They pair together pretty well. Alright, opponent. What you got? It's now or never. In all honesty, I was talking about using Valakut and Dryad to potentially sweep up their board, but we might be able to just kill them with Dryad. We do have this Vesuva in play, so if we attack and get Valakut bounce land and get some triggers, and then pick up the Vesuva, play Vesuva, copying Valakut for even more triggers, that could just be lethal for sure. We can't do it all this turn, though, since our opponent does have this Canonist in play. Sad times. So, I mean, there is a question of whether we even attack or not. Our opponent can just, like, trade their whole board with the Titan. Do we have another T-West? I think that we do. So we can set up a second T-West and transmute this turn and then pack during our opponent's turn and then cast whatever we pack for the turn after, even though we have to pay. So, like, that seems pretty decent. We could get our second Valakut into play now as well. Strange. I think we're supposed to attack. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Because now we are forced to decide how many turns we want to spend trying to execute a Dryad plan versus getting a second Titan. Because if we need to make a Titan and then a Dryad, like to play around another Path to Exile effect, then what we need to do here is get Azorius at a bounce land. But if we don't have that kind of time, we just have to get Valakut in a bounce land and pick up the Vesuva and play it this turn as a copy of Valakut. I think I'm not going to play around our opponent having an answer for our Dryad, so... And the reason why we have to Vesuva copying Valakut this very turn is because otherwise our opponent could top deck a Ghost Quarter and get rid of our only remaining Valakut, and then Dryad doesn't even do anything. So, I suppose trading with our opponent's good. Might be good. Trading with our opponent's board, don't know what I'm saying today, might be good enough as far as gaining some turns is concerned here. And we can still transmute Azorius this turn, so there's no big deal. They activate Mutavault, that's fine. So they are planning on putting a bunch of creatures under the roadblock here. Or using a bunch of creatures as a roadblock? Is that how it should be said? Our opponent's blocking with the Canonist, which is actually great for us. We really want this Canonist out of play. So we care least about the Thalia. We'll stack it like this. This actually just lets us cast Dryad this turn. Yeah, so that's great. Oh, no. Actually, we can't kill the Canonist, so... Don't know what I'm thinking. I got a little too excited here. Of course, our opponent is protecting the creatures that matter. They protect the Canonist and the Thalia. I don't know how this works. Do we have to assign lethal damage to everything? Alright, first strike is cool. Yeah. Can we... Let's see, if we go one... Oh yeah, we can't reduce to less than lethal damage, which is kind of sad. We only get 1 point of damage through, but that's okay. Alright, so we're back to the original plan of, you know, just transmuting, packing during their turn, etc., etc. Playing Vesuva, copying Valakut. I suppose that'll still only be good for, like, 4 triggers. No, 5 because... No, it'll be 5 triggers or more if we draw another land. If we draw a bounce land, then we can Grazer in a bounce land after playing bounce land as second land for turn. So, definitely playing this, copying the Valakut. I guess our best draw, assuming our opponent doesn't have a path, is a land, a bounce land, particularly. We're going to go ahead and pact on our opponent's upkeep here, so they can't Aven Mindcensor us. Like if they drew an Aven Mindcensor off the top. We'll get the Dryad. If our opponent has Path, that's great for them, I suppose. They are going to kill us very quickly if we don't do something about this board, though. Packing during our opponent's turn, of course, so that we can cast a spell during our turn, as that is how Aethersworn Canonista works. Even if they have something like a Deputy of Detention or a Skyclave Apparition here, we still get to mow a couple of Giver runes off the board, and probably do some damage to our opponent as well. We get to swing in for some damage. It's cool. We'll absolutely be blocking here. Block the Canonist. Ghost Quarter. Haha. See, we played around that one. Look at us. Look at us. Look at both of these beautiful Valakut's that we have in play. See, playing around stuff makes a difference. It really does. Now we gotta play around not losing the game to our Pact trigger. It's a very difficult one to play around, as you might have imagined. Radiant Fountain is actually great. This means that we're going to get some additional Valakut triggers, assuming our opponent's last card is not Path to Exile. And we get to gain some life to stabilize even further against the board, so looking pretty good here. Definitely shooting the Giver of Runes first things first. Would be nice to have a single fetch land here, so we could, like, kill some stuff in response to some Giver of Rune taps. We could just, like, play fetch land. They do Ghost Quarter us. Makes a lot of sense. Hitting the Vesuva. Pretty heads up. Yeah, Dryad in play. We'll play Radiant Fountain. Put this on the stack. Target this Giver. Always yes, always yield. They are... Oh, that's right. They can protect the Givers. That's pretty awkward. The Givers actually let them protect each other. That's very strange. I didn't consider that. Because I know a Giver can't target itself, but... Wow. Alright, so we actually still need some help this particular game. Does that mean we're supposed to hold on to the Garenbrig and the Grazer, or no? Because if we shoot a Valakut trigger at one of these Givers, then that actually does nothing for us. I suppose if we were to draw exactly a bounce land or a fetch land, then having the extra land in hand means that we can make our opponent do the double Giver play and then get something out of play with a third Valakut trigger. So we're probably supposed to hold on to the Garenbrig, as sad as it is. Do we play the Grazer anyways? The Grazer is what's giving us a third trigger if we top deck exactly bounce land, which I think is more likely than top decking fetch land, so... See, they let these two attack through, and then attack with the... I guess they don't attack anyways. We take 4 down to 6. Oof. Yeah, I don't think the Grazer makes a difference in play, so I'm just gonna pass it back. It's okay to have used the Radiant Fountain here, though, because I think that going up to 10 life is actually exceedingly relevant. Deputy. Alright, well, we might be losing this game. Giver of Runes OP. Suppose a Titan would still be a good top deck. We can... No, we cannot haste. Sadly. Alright, we'll block here, of course. Yeah, we would be in a lot better shape if we had a mainboard explosives here. Garrison's not actually that great here. We'll play it. I don't think we have a choice but to. And I think we're going to Grazer out this Radiant Fountain as well. The extra blockers could be relevant, and the 2 life is definitely relevant, so... Yeah, I don't know, we'll just have to see what we can top deck as outs here. I know that by putting our lands in play, we've made our Dryads a little bit worse, but... I don't know, man. There's not a whole lot we can do here. Titan off the top is what we're hoping for. And not even Summoner's Pact for Titan, actual Titan. And we've already used 1 Titan, so... This Canonist is doing us a lot of harm. I guess if we top decked a Talari West for Summoner's Pact or a Summoner's Pact off the top, we might have the time. Almost attack with a Giver. Don't want to do that, opponent. Trust me. Alright, line up some blocks, take our 2 damage. Grazers, they've gained us so much life against these 2 power creatures. Leonin Arbiter. That one doesn't matter anymore. And we're still drawing lands. I don't think we're technically dead. Actually, they go... We block. Actually, they can go pro-green. That's 4 that we're taking already. Block. So I guess we still have 1 more turn here. And I'm going to hold the lands here in case we do find a Dryad. Our opponent's down to 13 minutes on clock. We're at 18, and I'm here explaining everything, so I don't know how that's happening. They're paying costs. What are they paying costs for? They don't have anything in hand. I don't know. That was confusing. I guess with Arbiter in play, we actually don't want to be 6ing since they can play Ghost Quarter and get us if we're F6, which is kind of unfortunate. This is going to be our last relevant top deck, most likely anyways, so it's not going to hurt us that bad to play around a Ghost Quarter for 1 time here. Yep. We'll declare the old blocks here. Yep, this is our last turn. Titan just barely buys us more time here as well. Nope. That doesn't do it. Alright. Well, don't know if there's anything we could have done differently that game. If you have an idea, then drop it in the comments below, because I feel like there should have been something we could do. We want the explosives here, obviously. Probably not Force. I'm not interested in it for, like, Aether Vial. I guess it does hit Canonist, but... I mean, I don't think we can worry about that. Sage seems alright, though. Trackers seem fantastic. Dismembers seem fantastic. Summoner's Pact seems a little weak. Just gonna be honest. Razor seems pretty good, actually. Impulse is bad against our opponent's Thalia, so we can trim on that one. Same for Explorer. I think Explorer is actually worse than Impulse, but it's a little close. All the Explorers gotta go. What else? Bog is completely garbage. Cavern Souls can go. Yeah, I mean, that could just be it. Seems like a plan. Yeah, I'm in it. Now we have Tireless Trackers to make sure we top deck what we need in the late game. Tireless Tracker is just so good. It's definitely correct to be playing 2 or 3 trackers in the sideboard right now, in my opinion. It's just an evergreen good card. Depending on how fast our opponent plays, we might be able to time them out in this game 2 and game 3, hopefully. Well, if opponent doesn't submit their deck list in 8 seconds, seems like they were able to find the submit button, but they were at risk of playing another game 1 here against our game 2 deck. Definitely keeping this hand, I think. Explosives looking pretty A1 here. Impulse looking not that great, but, I mean, we'll deal. Probably playing the Forest here. I think keeping Vestige in hand as a blue source for transmuting could be relevant down the line. We'll put our green bounce land in play here. Pick up the Forest. Pass it back. If our opponent leads on Aether Vial, do we Explosives or not? I feel like probably not. There's also kind of an awkwardness between playing Explosives when it's mana efficient and leaving Explosives in your hand so your opponent doesn't expect it. Aether Vial. Yeah. Ooh. We can actually just play Tireless Tracker here. I mean, I'm doing it. Slam that one into play. They can path it and ramp us even further if they like. I would like to draw a card for every land that comes into play. Ah, that's way too big. That's way too small. There we go. That's good. Don't know if that's the same size as it was before, but it's the size you guys will have to work with for now. That's not how the hand's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this. Selfless Spirit. Interesting one against our explosives. Kind of makes me wish we had explosives on one and blow it up, but that's okay. We're still making some clues here regardless. I guess we lead off on the Impulse to see what we see. I mean, we found a Titan. So let's take it, I guess. So I guess we Vesuva here. Hold up 2 mana to play around Leonin Arbiter, and if they don't put it into play, and I guess they could still Aether Vial Arbiter into play. We could also play Garrison here. Yeah, I think Garrison's better, leaving us with a couple of untapped sources lined up. Probably could have attacked there, actually. Don't think our opponent would have blocked, and if they did, and then we just crack the clue, I guess we'd get blown out by Leonin Arbiter, but that might have been okay, actually. Surprisingly. Still wondering if just blowing up this vial immediately with the explosives would have been a better play. Isolate the Grazer. You got it. That's probably even worse than just hitting the clue, if I'm being completely honest. Isolate, for those of you who don't know, is 1 mana instant, exile target permanent with converted mana cost 1. Pretty narrow on that one, I would say. Our opponent could still have Arbiter, so I'm going to play around it. No reason to expose ourselves. Guess we're just playing out the Vestige here. Sure. And we'll yield to this one. Feel pretty good about just cracking clue immediately. At least one clue. We're not doing anything else this turn, I don't think, so. Another Titan. It's cool, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're good. Probably not playing explosives on one. If we top deck a Dismember for this Selfless Spirit, then sandbagging this explosives will be good. Do we swing with the tracker? I think not. I think we'll get enough value from the tracker long term that having it available here will just be the best that we can do. No reason to lose it to our opponent flashing in a creature and double blocking and stuff like that. I guess it does get the Spirit out of play, but I feel like we're just getting so much more value out of our tracker by it being in play than just trading for a couple creatures from our opponent. So, still leaving up 2 mana here to play around Leonin Arbiter. I could even be convinced not to play Titan this upcoming turn, so that we can, is this creatures? Okay, so here we can trade our explosives for their vial, and see if they are willing to give up a Giver of Runes. And now we don't have to play around Instant Speed Arbiter, actually, since they have vial on 3, not on 2. So, I'm going to go ahead and crack the clue. Sure. If they have Flicker Wisp for a bounce land, then it's kind of unfortunate, but they don't. Think we just slam Titan here? Oh, they're using Ghost Quarter in our draw step. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. We'll float the mana, let this go. We'll put a stop on our own draw step, just to make absolutely certain that we get to crack this clue we're about to find, since this mana is going to go away anyways. Crack it. Don't worry, we will not have to discard, because we're about to play explosives as well. So, alright, let's go to our main phase. Get rid of this stop here. Okay. I guess we want the information of what kind of thing they're going to flash in with the vial before we do anything else, so I think just playing out the vial on one here is fine. Do it with the Garrison, as the green mana could be relevant. Our opponent's going to have to choose to whether or not to save their giver with their Selfless Spirit. Their choice could be quite relevant. But we need to get this Vial out of play now. We're starting to get far enough ahead that we can afford to just trade this 1-for-1 for a Vial, so we just want to slow them down more so that we can draw more cards, you know? They get to put in a 3-drop, that's fine. Deputy of Detention, that's fine. Alright, they just let it go. I think we're pretty glad to just get the Vial out of play. Now we can play around Ghost Quarter plus Arbiter by playing basic Forest. Then we can't play Titan this upcoming turn, however. 5, unless we draw an untapped source. Kind of awkward. They haven't played a Arbiter just yet, so we haven't really given them a great chance to, but I think we are supposed to play a bounce land out here. I'm going to get this Growth Chamber into play. If they have Arbiter, then that just sucks for us. And we actually do have to discard this turn thanks to this play, but that might be okay. Discard Pact. I don't know. Pact getting Dryad could be quite relevant. I think we discard the Vestige. Sure. I much higher value this basic Forest than the Vestige. Mutavault. Cool, cool, cool. Take our well-deserved damage here. Garen Brigg does not let us haste. I think we're just slamming Titan. Sure. Boom. We'll set up Valcuts for sure. At least one Valcut. We already have a backup Titan and a Dryad ready to go, so I'm not super inclined to get Tolaria West. It could be right, though. I'm going to get double Valcut so our opponent can't Ghost Quarter one of them and take us off of our Valcut plan here. And if we do get this Deputy of Detention out of play, then we get to get our tracker back. Path. I mean, that's fine. That was going to happen regardless, so. And that's one less path for our Dryad. Dryad's about to swoop in and clean up the board. I guess we don't want to be yielded here in case we need to cast a Summoner's Pact during our opponent's turn. Taken 5. I'm not super scared of this, though. They could have a second path, and that would be pretty bad. 8th Vial. Well, now they can't have a second path, and we're absolutely fine to do whatever we want. We might even be able to win the game with Dryad and Azusa, because that's 4 total land drops with double Valakut is 8 triggers. Yeah, our opponent's super hyper dead here, so, Pact. Get Dryad. Play Azusa. Writing on the wall. No concession. Okay, we'll keep going. Dryad. Bounce land. Is this good enough? Hold on a second. We want to. It's not letting me save targets. Right click. Save targets upstairs. Always yes. Always yes. Always yield. They sacrifice their Selfless Spirit. We're not even targeting their creatures. But you know what? That's okay. Opponent, you do have a life total. You realize this, right? Let's get this Vesuva in play for the flex. Extra 3 points of damage on the stack, you know? Alright. Yeah, not really wanting to change anything. Force hits both Vial and the Canonist, but I don't think that's all that relevant, to be honest. Beast Within seems bad. Yeah, I'm just going to run it back. Tracker looking insanely good there. We have a turn 1 Amulet draw. And Impulse to go looking for stuff. Hand doesn't play around a whole lot, but, I mean, I think it would be pretty questionable to mulligan this one. We even have Titan mana already rolled up. Slayer Stronghold naturally in the hand is not fantastic, but having an Amulet kind of covers up that weakness, so we'll be fine here. Take away our opponent's upkeep stop over here. Don't need that. Turn 1 Vial is amazing for our opponent. Tracker is pretty amazing for us. Yep, let's get this Amulet in play. Pass it back. Might not even play Impulse on 2 here if our opponent shows us a Ghost Quarter. Or even if they don't, it's probably correct to play around them vialing in an Arbiter and having Ghost Quarter for their 3rd turn to take us off of a land drop. So, don't think we can afford that. Then playing Mutavault. Very interesting. Yeah, I just don't really feel like getting got by Leon and Arbiter. We might find the clock to increase very suddenly with their Aether Vial draw here on the play. Canonist, huh? Yeah, that one's kind of unfortunate. Actually, I suppose we can Impulse and play around Arbiter by playing a bounce land here and leaving it in play. I mean, we're playing around Arbiter, quote-unquote, by being able to search. We still don't want our bounce land to get blown up, but we could just slam the tracker here. I don't see a reason to do that. Exactly. I think Impulse into Sanctuary picking up the Forest is going to be best here. Could be wrong, though. I think we want to cast a spell here since our opponent has the Canonist, so maybe we'll even find another bounce land with Impulse if we don't find something more relevant than that. Primeval Titan, Dryad, and a bounce land. These are all 3 of the cards that we want to be able to hit with Impulse. We just have all 3 of them here. We can get a second bounce land if they do have Ghost Quarter for the first. Dryad with Valakut triggers seems very relevant, but also does casting Primeval Titan sound good. Probably Titan is the best pick here. It's really far down the line, though. I'm going to take a leap of faith and take the Dryad here, I think. Sure. In the order of these ones. We'll put our bounce land into play, which feels even worse now that we have an Amulet in play with a Dryad in hand, but still can't let ourselves get destroyed here by a Ghost Quarter, I think, so. Yeah, pass it back. Our opponent has Giver. Alright. To be honest, we don't really need Titan as a threat for this kind of hand since we do have Tracker, so. Tracker is arguably as good a threat in this type of matchup as Titan is, although it kills a lot slower. Activate this. They've already played land for turn. They played Seachrome Coast, so there's no Ghost Quarter coming. They're relicking away our Amulet. Okay. Sure. I think we're about to slam this Dryad. The real prize is this Tracker. Which I don't think our opponent knows about, by the way. I almost guarantee that if they have a Detention Sphere dude, that they're going to use it on our Dryad here, so. Second Valakut's actually pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and play one of those, since theoretically we can transmute Telari West if our Dryad stays in play. In fact, showing our opponent a Valakut makes them even more likely to just immediately throw some kind of removal spell at the Dryad. If they pathed our Dryad, then that would give us our additional land we need to just slam Titan this upcoming turn. If we draw the Titan, of course. See if they have Deputy of Detention. Haven't seen any Skyclave Apparitions, which I can understand. Personally, that card is $30, and I have not had any inclination to buy into even a single copy of that card. But, maybe that's the reason why they're playing Deputies and splashing blue in the first place, is because of the fact that they can't get the Apparitions. Or maybe they chose to do something different, or maybe they're playing both, who knows? Arbiter, alright. That's fine. We are 1 land away from triggering. Actually, we could play Valakut land and then Grazer in something to kill, like, the Aethersworn Canonist. Or the Giver right now is actually a very good target. Actually, we get 2 triggers off of the Valakut as well. I think that's probably better than playing Tracker. Is it, though? It plays into Path to Exile. Nah, I think I'm off that. Let's just get the Tracker into play now. Get our value while we can. Not in a super rush to clear our opponent's board. As crazy as that may sound. We'll play Castle Garenbrig here. And another land, and just get all the clues that we can from our Tireless Tracker. Put another Valakut into play, because why not? I guess this is better if we draw exactly Vesuva, so they can't just like Ghost Quarter one and then deny us an additional land drop or something like that. But no point in attacking, I don't think. Not like we can block, but they would just double block with their board here, and we definitely need this Dryad in play. Second Leonin Arbiter. I mean, you got it, I guess. We're getting 2 Valakut triggers this upcoming turn, regardless of what our opponent does. Even if they had Ghost Quarter. I guess that they would need double Ghost Quarter here to stop us from getting Valakut triggers. They pass. I mean, I'm not playing around them having stuff here. I'm just going to crack a clue. Draw some cards. That's what we want to do, don't we? Garen Brigg, okay. Never punished. Never need to worry about it. We can transmute here. Don't know what for. Let's start by playing a Garen Brigg and seeing what happens. Send at the Aethersworn and at the Giver. Always yes, always yes, always yield. If our opponent has a path, we could transmute for Summoner's Pact. Can't cast Dryad in the same turn anyways, though, so maybe not on that one. I mean, we might transmute and just not plan to actually cast a Dryad, but... Okay, so now we get even more triggers, because, sure. Let's kill the Relic Warder. I don't know if that matters, actually. Let's just kill the 2 Arbiters and play around stuff. Relic Warder I don't think actually matters at all. We're probably about to kill this one too with a Grazer anyways, though. I definitely want to do this before our opponent finds an answer for the Dryad, so... And also to get another trigger from our Tireless Tracker, of course. I suppose we could crack a clue and draw exactly Primeval Titan. Spellstutter Sprite the Grazer. You love to see it. You love to see that. Alright, yeah, let's clue. Titan? Azusa. Interesting. I guess we just clue again. Bounce land, I guess, is best now. Well, more lands in general is just good, so... Oh, we can't play another spell this turn. Yeah, that's fine then. Might as well leave some mana up. No reason to crack the clue immediately. We will... Yeah, I guess attacking with the tracker is a little loose here, but... I don't know. Our opponent's got 3 minutes left on the clock as well. They don't block, that's fine. Missed out on a point of damage with the clue. Whatever. Whatever. 13 is not a Valakut relevant number anyways. 12 and 15 are the Valakut numbers. Activate Vial. Put in an answer to our Dryad, most likely. Yep. There's the Deputy. They do go after the Dryad, that's fine. It is the best one for them to hit. Tracker over here doing what Tracker does and just being a complete and utter beast. Attacks for 5. You got it. Opponent's dead in 2 turns to our Tracker alone. And we can actually use Slayer Stronghold to increase our clock and simultaneously be able to block with our Tracker as well, so it's pretty cool. Alright, let's start by playing the Stronghold and drawing a card here. Just to see if we hit Titan, because we might cast that instead of the Azusa, if we find it. Amulet. Definitely not casting that over Azusa here. So, yeah, let's cast the Azusa, I do think. Spell Color. Sure. Our opponent's got a bit of a clock going on here. Let's definitely use our mana to Vigilance our Tireless Tracker here and swing for 10. Oh, we can actually cast the Amulet this turn as well, since it isn't affected by Canonist. That's pretty nifty. Didn't realize that. Alright, see if our opponent can set up lethal. We're taking 2... Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think they're just a little short here, although they can chump our tracker. I don't know, we could be in some trouble here if we don't hit something relevant off the top. They've got a bunch of flying damage through the air coming through, so bit of a yikes. They don't even attack with the other ones. Oh, they do? Okay. I mean, we're definitely blocking the Canonist. That way, if we top deck a Growth Chamber... I guess Growth Chamber doesn't actually do anything just yet. They chose not to attack with the ground creatures, which makes sense to me. I guess Explosives off the top is like our best draw. Explosives on 3, it really unlocks our position here, so... And by that, I mean just kills our opponent on the spot. Second Amulet, I guess it lets us... I don't know what it does, actually. Radiant Fountain seems good here. Sure. Always deal to this one. Let's draw our card. Another land, huh? I mean, we like lands. I don't know if we like them this much, though. Let's haste our dude. Play Amulet. And we'll swing. Oh, do want to attack for sure here. Our 11-8 tracker doing some work. Our opponent has 57 seconds on the clock. We get a third Amulet. That's pretty awesome. I guess it could have been better to play the Telarios instead of the Fountain, just so that if we do top deck a bounce land, a blue bounce land, then we can do the thing, but our opponent's swinging in with everything, it looks like. They're going deep, except for the Deputy, of course. We'll get this Ether Swarm Canonist out of play. Take our, 4 damage? At 5, okay. And we do actually get punished finding this bounce land here. Oh, no, we have all these amulets, so we can transmute and do everything. Yeah, we're good. That's 5, get rid of these yields. These triggers and their order doesn't really matter. Yield to this one. Alright, we'll untap. Float, untap. Float, untap. Float. We'll pick up, I guess, the Growth Chamber. It doesn't really matter. We will transmute. Is Dryad the best play here? Let's us kill their Deputy, but then they can flash in a blocker. I guess not. I think the best play is just Titan. Does have Trample, of course. Let's activate. Get Titan into play. If we have another T-West, we actually might be able to get a second Titan, so that we can play around them having another Deputy. I guess, actually, that doesn't play around Deputy, though. Does it? But we can't set up a Dryad here as well, so we'll do it. All the triggers. Every single one of them. Yes, they are all necessary. Why do you ask me such pointless questions? Transmute. Get Summoner's Pact. Cast Summoner's Pact. Get Dryad. Play Dryad. They activate Vial. Gotta respond to this one, because they're just dead to it if they don't. And now we attack and double strike, and that's just lethal, right? Wait, cancel. We need to haste before we do all of that. A big talk. I need to do the correct execution here. We'll crack a clue because might as well. We have the mana available. I do believe we are playing a Sunhome. Dismember. That's also very lethal. But I'm just going to attack for lethal here. Don't need to go down to 1. Yep. Let's get the Sunhome and Boros Garrison. And yeah, that's extremely lethal. And our opponent has 7 seconds on the clock. So I guess we need to stack our triggers correctly here. So Sunhome, 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 Garrison, Garrison. Alright. Untap. And our opponent goes to 0 seconds on the clock. Win the match. Alright. That's pretty good. We're currently 4-0. Like I said, I have been really liking this list in general. I can't say that Adventurous Impulse is the smoothest feeling card. It does feel very clunky at times, but it is very consistent. I have to admit, this is probably the most consistent I've felt the deck has been. And I've played many different versions, including some worse and some better ones. Like, I definitely prefer this list to the Karn list. It could just be that it resonates well with my playstyle. I definitely think that that's a very real thing in the Titan community that nobody talks about. I like playing Grazers and a very more low-to-the-ground Dryad Titan strategy. Much more straightforward than the kind of toolboxy aspects. That said, I do like having things like Bajuka Bog and Ghost Quarter in the main deck, just because I feel like they give us important tools in certain matchups. But, like, if you're the kind of player that likes to play Grazer over Sakura Tribe Scout because you would just never play a creature that just dies to removal, then you might also be the kind of player that likes to play for Adventurous Impulse for increased consistency, because I think that's a very real thing that people don't really talk about. Is maybe this is just the type of amulet list for me. I don't know. Anyways, we are currently 4-0. Previous to this, I was 7-3 with the list. So to add that, we are now 11-3 in total with this list. Although not all of it was on the channel. Yeah, that's way too much talking. I'll see you guys in the next match, or hopefully it will be 5-0 at the end of this and claim a trophy finally. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Redface Menace, signing off.